All right, hello guys. Come on in, author for the author people. Yay, Amber and Mackenzie, you made it. Let's do this. Grace, we got quite a few coming in. You can hear her giggling in the background. And Carrie Taransky's. Yes. Okay, so it's on me because I got to give them the operation. Hey, girl, I know. Carrie Taransky, Julie, all kinds of you guys. Okay, so normal writer's encouragement show, we do author interviews and we get to introduce an author and we start having her tell her story and all of this kind of stuff. But with you guys in here today, we, okay, sweet, well, Mackenzie, that's fine. We had previewed you guys with questions. You guys remember inside Author for the Author when I said, help me interview a publicist. I have no idea where to begin. Well, after sitting down with her an hour and taking your guys' questions, I pretty much scrapped it because this lady there's just so much more information. Okay, that's fine, Stephanie. There's like a whole bunch of you coming in, which is awesome. But before we get started, I want to let you know that Jeannie is actually going to give us a mystery giveaway. So the way we're going to do the giveaway this time is through your shares. If you swipe and share, now I know Mackenzie and Amy, if she comes in, can't because they're inundated with trolls. But if you share and swipe, then I will go back and watch the replay and put your name in a box. And guess what she's giving away? 10 books, mystery title selection, mix of nonfiction and fiction. 10 books. That's what a publicist can do, right? Boom, drop mic. She's going to give it away. So if you share Twitter, I'll go do the Twitter and the followers all separately. Yes. So if you help me get the word out right here and all throughout. So if you get halfway through and you want to share again, it will just kind of keep going around. So you can torment your followers and help me get the word out here. So she is a pretty dynamic personality and a pretty dynamic niche in our industry. And I have been watching a, a summit this week from all these self-published guys who are big wigs in the industry. Hi, Dawn, we need to catch up. And they all said this week, that these fiction writers, these book writers, they spend so much time working on their book that they forget about the power of actually getting the book to the people that are supposed to read it. Joe says he's annoyed his 3 followers enough because he shared it out a bunch of times. Joe, that's awesome. You make me laugh. Okay, so she's going to come in and actually tilt the wheel because every single one of us in here, if you've done any time, if you've dreamed about writing or whatever, then you know that they always push platform. And it's all about your social media numbers and this and that. And she's going to come in here and in about 2 seconds put a wonky spin on that and tell us the bigger picture. It's kind of an apples and oranges kind of thing. So you guys are doing awesome sharing it out. I suppose I should introduce myself because I am going to get new people just in case. I'm Kara Grandel. And I do a writer's encouragement show on Periscope once a week. And I'm on here more often, but it's only organized once a week. And I am on my publication journey. I have an agent, but I am not published yet. And I am having fun getting to know all of the people on the behind the scenes by doing these interviews and stuff. So you can also be a part if you're interested in writing books. Then you might like to come and hang out with 140 other creatives that are in the process. Yes, how can you get a book deal? Exactly. So it comes the other way around. Hi, Lizzie, and I see all of you guys. I got Amber in here. I got all these people saying hi to me. So it's weird for me to just keep talking over all the comments, but we got to. Okay, so without further ado, here comes our guest, Jeane Wynn, and I'm going to let you guys say hi to her. So here she is, turning the camera around. Yay! There you are, Jeane. Oh, you got teenagers watching and listening too. They're bringing in. Yes.
I love teenagers. Hi, everyone.
And yes, so go ahead and jump right in because we got an hour to go and you have a lot to share with us. So burst our bubble. Tell us the difference between what we think a publicist does and what it really does. And they're all saying hi and giving you tons of hearts.
Okay, cool. My name is Jeane Wynn. I am the president and founder of Wynn-Wynn Media, which is a publicity firm We started in 2001 from actually the upstairs of my house in my little attic room. And we've been in business, it'll be 15 years in September. We basically are publicists. So my husband works with me, his name is Tyson, and we work together to get the word out about books. And so we book everything from trade interviews to regular reviews, blogs, broadcasts, podcasts. We also work with launch teams, and we basically do anything that there is to get the word out about the book. That is what a publicist does. Now, here's the thing. If you, like for example, if you want an endorsement or something like that, that isn't usually what a publicist does. A publicist is all for getting those things that are available for free to the author. It might be a Publisher's Weekly review, if you've heard of Publisher's Weekly, or an RT book review, a Romantic Times, or it might be a radio interview that promotes your book. That is what a publicist does. How it's different from a marketer, let's say, is let's say you want to buy an ad. If you have to pay for that ad, it no longer falls under publicity. It falls under advertising and marketing. So basically what I am looking for are those opportunities that you don't have to pay for and you really don't want to pay for. In the case of, let's say, a review. So that is what a publicist does. And we have worked with over 200 authors. Actually, we're updating that list for our anniversary because I think it's larger now. We've worked with over 200 authors. Initially, we started by doing a lot of fiction, and now we're actually doing a really nice blend of fiction and nonfiction titles. And we've worked with everyone from Max Lucado to Karen Kingsbury to, the list is huge. Pretty much we've worked with not everyone, but we've worked with a lot. So that is essentially what we do. And why I'm here today is I want to encourage you, as you're writing your books, to think about a bigger picture of what you might need to do right now, even if you're not published, to help build that platform and help get you situated where you need to be. So that's why I'm here today.
Perfect. So, okay, so we have a question that's jumping in, and it's good timing. So Joe wants to know if it's easier for you to work with fiction or nonfiction or podcast.
You know what? It's interesting. I think I could honestly say it's probably about equal. Initially, we did a lot of fiction PR because when we started the firm in 2001, very few people were working with fiction. And you have to understand, at that particular time, you didn't have blogs, you didn't have social media, you didn't have a lot of the online places that are available now. And so we were booking as much as we could. We kind of jumped into fiction because we didn't know any better, and we didn't know that you didn't promote it like nonfiction. So we have done a large amount of fiction over the years, and for many years it's been the percentage of our business. Now it's actually kind of an equal split. So we're doing fiction and nonfiction, and we love them both because we think that they both have places in the lives of people. And my husband and I both love to read both kinds. So we have the best of all worlds.
Perfect. So I saw Amy jump in here too, which she's the one. Amy meet Jeannie. Jeannie meet Amy. Mackenzie, they're both in here. So they wanted to meet you. Okay. I wanted to have you pop the bubble of the platform thing. So before I interviewed you, I honestly had this question. I said, what on earth? They've been teaching us about how to get our numbers up on our websites and our social media and all these things to be seen. What can a publicist do that I can't do by myself? And so you talked about leveraging your relationship. Go from there, because it really is a weird concept when you don't know what a publicist does.
Yeah. A publicist is basically someone that people hire to utilize those relationships and that leverage. That is exactly true. I mean, there are many things now that authors can do on their own social media-wise. But there's some things that it really does help to have a publicist because as an author, you don't always want to be representing yourself for certain things. So I have relationships with people in the media that I can help you out with that, and I can pitch to them, and I can tell them how wonderful you are, because let's be honest, it gets a little icky sometimes to tell people how wonderful you are yourself, right? You know, and so sometimes you want another party to do that for you. And so that's where I come in, and I use those relationships. Our media really trusts us to bring them what I feel like is the very best. We really do love working with particular products, and we love particular types of products. So there's a lot of quality control within Wynn-Wynn Media. So if I approach somebody to do an interview, they're going to know that that book has already been really looked at by us, or we wouldn't even be working with it. Yeah.
Interesting. So, for the person who is not self-published, when we talk behind the scenes, you actually said that a question that you should ask if you go into traditional publishing, whether it's small, medium, or big company, you said we should ask questions about what they're doing for us for a pub. So you can actually have a traditional publishing house and then also hire a publicist for other reasons, right?
Right. What you might want to do, I always say that sometimes I think what happens, especially if you're a debut author, it's kind of like it's hard to know exactly what you can ask or what you can't ask. Our whole thing is it's always nice, and a lot of times the house will communicate this to you without you having to ask. But if you don't know exactly what's happening with your book, marketing, media, publicity-wise, it's always a good idea to ask. And you know what? Sometimes that is in and of itself is enough, and sometimes you might want to supplement a publicist with that, but you won't know until you ask what they're going to cover on their end. And I always say, be really gracious. Don't keep asking. Give them a chance to answer. I know sometimes it's hard because you want to know, but just be very gracious in asking, and let them tell you what they're going to do and how they're going to help the book out, and then you can go from there. And it may be that they're doing all that needs to be done, maybe. And maybe that you need help. So, but you won't know till you ask.
Okay. So now I have a twofold question. I know that inside the Periscope audience, we have a couple people who are building a platform, a social media version of a platform, and they're looking to eventually someday maybe have a book come out of their thing. So what do you say to that person? And then the other half of the question is, if we as writers are coming to the table with you as a publicist, what are you hoping that we have already done? So I guess it's one's from the writer's perspective, one's from the entrepreneur maybe coming into a platform to have, like even with Amy here, she's doing her Inspire with Amy. Let's say down the road she ends up with a book kind of idea coming out of her Inspire with Amy. What do you do with that? So what are you looking for?
I think for the first question, how do you build a platform? That's sort of $1 million question. But honestly, you just have to get out there and do the work. And that does mean that what you have, like let's say on your Facebook page or on your website or on your blog, has to be quality. And so you need to be doing the best that you can do with the material that you're offering people, with the comments and anything you add. It needs to be quality. Because here's the thing. If you're in the midst of trying to get a book deal, and then the posts on your social media are full of grammatical errors, it gets paid attention to. So that's one of those things that you really need to pay attention to, is the quality of what you're doing everywhere across the board, on your website, on your blog, on your Facebook, on your Twitter, all of that. The quality needs to be really good on that in order to make sure you're doing your best work. As far as building a platform goes, what we often find is people maybe set up a Facebook page and they're not quite active on it. And that's another thing. You must be active on all of these sites. You must be posting several times a week. What you can do is, I really like a mix, even on an author's page. If you have an author's page set up, or I want a mix of personal and professional. I like to know about those kids. I like to know about those grandkids. I like to know what's going on. So I like a mix. You know what? It doesn't have to be on a blog. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of content to grab attention. It can be.
Okay, so we are, I want to recap a couple of things that she said, remind you again about 10 books giveaway. So swipe and share. I know even that it's late in the interview, but we still want you to enter. So enter as many times as you can here. It shows up in my radar when you share and enter. But I want, one of the things that she just said that was so powerful, that is so in line with the Writer's Encouragement Show, with what we do on here. What we are doing is witness each other's small progress. If you come and find us on Facebook group, Author for the Author, you join a group of people who are actually slinging mud together. We are actually working on it. All of you guys, Joe and Amber and Stephanie and all of you guys, we've already been doing this, and there's a few more of you coming. But what she said here is she likes to come across people who know who they are. And how do you find out who you are as a voice and as a writer? The only way is to sling mud, to get in there and do it. So for the rest of today and tomorrow and the next day is our Staycation Writers Retreat. So if you can elbow back any extra space in your schedule, push back on the chores and the dinner and the family, and create a little vacuum of space just to call writing or creating, then that's what we're going to do over the next couple days. And we're going to hit the next right things when we do that. I'll probably be back on here later after we're done with this interview to talk about that, because that is how you find your voice. It comes through the actual experience of doing. You can't say, what is my voice? What am I going to say? And then try to come up with it. You actually have to kind of do it. And even for those of you who are doing it the other way around, where you're building your audience and through Periscope and through Facebook groups and all of that, you still have to know, you have to begin and move forward and figure out what is resonating with your audience and what fits you best. You know, I don't even think she's still in here, but when Mackenzie was in here, she started to go off on the rabbit trail of creating Bible studies. And when she's like, this is taking up way too much time, and there's other people who are doing this, I just want to go through, oh, you are still here, perfect. I just want to go through Bible studies and share the content that's blessing my heart. I don't want to build the house from scratch. See, she was shaping her voice. She's knowing more and more specifically what is a good fit to her, and she's tried on a lot of shoes and pitched those shoes because they pinched, and then on to the next. Super powerful concept, and it's exactly what you do inside of your blog, inside of your Facebook stuff, anything social media, you're doing that, and even more so as you're crafting your work. So I really wanted to put that out there. Pinchy shoes. Yeah, that's what we got. And Joe, you've made me laugh more than once. If you've heard me snuffle laughter behind the scenes, you're on a roll today, by the way. So, any of you have any more questions that we want to throw out to her before we get going? And you got to try lock on. Yes, you do. And it's tricky. It's tricky. Anybody have any more questions? Because she's full of rich content here. But it's kind of an abstract idea to even ask questions about if we're nowhere close to this. It feels far away. But you're actually starting now. The little tiny, when we say the next right thing and you jump in, Mackenzie, how many people in the Cultivating the Lovely started the Instagram account this last couple of months for the first time? And they only have 3 or 4 or 5 people like hearting their pictures when they post them. But if in the future that person was going to write a book, that is their beginning and it counts. There's a reason why the scriptures say not to despise small beginnings. Heart it up if you are a small beginninger. That is me over here, small beginnings. And it's just the beginning of moving through the process. You can't have big numbers until you have little ones first. That's the way this thing goes. So go ahead. Don't let this conversation choke you out. Don't let it steal from you. Okay, so I'm turning it around to you because Joe has a really great question. And he says, aside from being social, like friendly, what can they do? What can we do to help a publicist in their job for us? Like if you were working, if I was already working for you or you were working for me or whatever way that's properly said, how can I...
There's things you always ask for as a publicist that you want. it's never too early, I think, in a lot of ways, to go ahead and start laying down your bio, because that is a number one thing that a publicist is going to need, is a bio. And we actually like, if you have time, we actually like a longer bio if you have it, and a little like 2 to 3 line bio, because sometimes we need a 100-word bio for you. Sometimes we need a larger bio. So one of the things that you can do is work on your bio. Another thing that really helps a publicist is good pictures. Sometimes go, you know what? I have this picture that I really love, but it was taken in 1989. It's sort of like if you were on a dating site and the person doesn't exactly look like the photo. So, and you know what? Honestly, there's good, you could do good digital pictures now. If you have a photographer, that's awesome. But you can also do good digital pictures. So make sure that you've really got good pictures available. It doesn't have to be a lot of them. Headshot, body shot, awesome. Inside, outside, whatever you got would be great. But make sure it's the best you can look. Don't be afraid. Just ask somebody, hey, how does this look? And be okay if they say you need a new one. Don't get your feelings hurt, because it's really important. It's first impressions. Even though it's a book, we want to see you and we want to like what we see. So pictures are really important. Impression. Obviously we're going to say, hey, where's your cover? Where's your book information? All of that we're going to need. That's how we get started, is really with reading the book. And then the cover, we love having the cover. Any of that basic information that you would use to get your book sold is usually what we need. And then including, obviously, contact information, bio information, where you are on social media, all of those type things are things that we ask for as a publicist.
Awesome. Okay, do you have any advice for us writers out here? Do you have anything that you would like to say, or something you say all the time to your writers?
Yeah, you know what? I want you to not give up, because here is the thing. There is only one you, and there's only one lens from which your story came. And if I don't get that story from you, I don't get it from anybody. And I think sometimes writers don't understand that. I think they don't understand that, in the case of Narnia, if C.S. Lewis wouldn't have written Narnia, we wouldn't have had Narnia. If Jerry Bridges or Max Lucado had never written a nonfiction, we would never have Max's voice, or we would never have, Karen Kingsbury's voice. And so, you know what, you have to realize that what you're doing is really important. And if you only write for yourself and it never gets published, you're still going to be a writer. You're in a club where you can say, I'm a writer. And what I compare that to is, I used to live in Colorado, and when people would say, where do you live? I'd say Colorado, and they would say, oh my gosh, I love Colorado, or I've always wanted to live in Colorado. Well, you know what? You're a writer. So how many times do you tell people, they ask you what you do, and you're like, well, I'm a writer. Doesn't even have to be published author, right? You're a writer. And what do? They go, oh, I love to read. I love writing stories. So use that connection to think about how special your gift is, and don't ever forget it. Here's the thing. There are some of you that will not be published. There are some of you that will be published. There are some of you that will take your own road and go self-publishing. But if we don't have the work that you're doing, then we're never going to have that voice. And that would be a shame. So I want you to keep going, but I want you to keep honing your craft. Some of you may be going to the American Christian Fiction Writers Conference. It's coming up in August. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to help your craft. Don't always determine to yourself that you're going to be as good as you possibly can be. And I think that that's the best that you can ask for. It's the best that I can ask for out of my life. Every day I come to this office, not always knowing what's going to happen, not always knowing who's going to book. Right now we're working on the Christie Awards. They get announced next week. We're working on a lot of wonderful opportunities for that. But, you have to realize how amazing this gift is, and you have to realize that not everybody can put words to paper, and not everybody can write. And you know what? I firmly believe that if you're meant to be published, that somehow you will be published. I don't know how by who, and it may be by you. You may be doing it yourself. But don't ever give up on it, because it's a gift, and you need to value and appreciate that.
Okay, Joe, we're going to ask this one last question, and then we'll be done for the day. But they want to know if you have the hardest book you've ever worked with, or the hardest project you've ever worked on. Do you have a reference?
The hardest?
Yeah, is there anything that made one really hard?
Well, you know what? You know what? There are sometimes circumstances and situations that make publicizing a book hard. But I can't think of one. It's been, you know what? It's been 15 years of the hardest work that I've ever done, and the hardest work that my husband has ever done in our lives. But it's brought such joy, because God uses the Word. He uses His Word, the Bible, and He uses the words of people. And, you know, honestly, any bad situations that have come, I can count them on less than one hand. And we've always found a way to turn them around.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Camera's going on me. Before we send her off with some good thank yous and all of that, she said something way back at the beginning when she was talking about how we can get ready with our platform, and then she said it again just now when she's telling us not to give up and to stick with it, and that is excellence and doing the best that you can with right exactly where you are. Excellence and doing the best that you can with what's available to you right now, including your craft. But keep learning your craft and keep chiseling away. And it's a massive learning curve. None of you, I don't have to tell any of you guys, you all know it's a massive learning curve of what we've signed up to do here. And there is a lot of learning involved. So we got to stay soft-hearted and keep slugging away and going through this process. So, I want to thank Jeannie. Don't forget that if you can share the old-fashioned way on the Instagram, on the graphic. If you want to share out to 2 people, we'll enter you name through both avenues, sharing on here. Thank you, Joe. Or on that, to get into the 10-book win. Jeane Wynn does do the consultation, so go ahead and take advantage of that. If and when, that's dream talk right there, when you're in a position to get your publicist. And I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to give you a second to write a comment to tell her thank you. If you have something specific that you want to say as far as what helped you, let's get that out to her. I'm going to turn it around. Hearted up. Goodbye for the interview. They've been saying thank you already. Such a fun thing to do, and they've really appreciated the interview itself. They've actually had a couple comments that went up already. So it always takes them a second. The hearts go quiet and the fingers go thumbing through here as they get their words up there. So
well, thank you for having me. And Karen, if anybody's going to be at ACFW,
yes.
I would, tell them I would love to meet them and say hi in person. So if anybody's going to be there.
Awesome.
I would
Very good.
I think Carol, along with you, are probably going to maybe try to periscope a little from
yes.
there, from our unique perspective as publicists. But I just appreciate this group, and I appreciate Carol leading it out. I think you all are doing amazing things, and if anybody has any questions after, they can always feel free to email me, Jeannie@Wynn-Wynn-Media.com.
Awesome. Thank you. And we will see you. And I didn't get to read out because I didn't want to interrupt you, but they said a bunch. So you'll have to watch the replay to catch some personal thank yous. It's actually quite content rich for us today. So I'm going to say goodbye to you, my Periscope people. Have a good afternoon. And I'll be on later to do Next Right Thing and to kick off our staycation, and also to talk about our Zoom meetup. So you can watch for more notifications today. I'll be a Periscope guru today.